This is Brandon Tatum.
Y'all just see what unfunny ex-comedian D.L. Hughley just said about me. Posted a picture of me and my wife. To do what? To be a racist? You are the lamest dude in all of comedy.
What is more lame than calling yourself the job you used to have? You're not an officer anymore. You were a football player who failed at being a football player. You didn't make the team, so you became an officer. That wasn't working out, so you became an influencer. You talked about emotion. What is more emotional than this? You cried for a white dude who the people didn't even think you worthy to speak at his funeral. You said you wouldn't cry for your son, but you cried for him. That's not emotional. About how those boys are innocent, you had proof. Now, I don't know whether they're innocent or not. I don't know what happened there. But I know one conversation with a failed football player and a social media influencer is not the predicate. You don't have any toxicology report. You don't have an autopsy report. You talked about black people acting a fool. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that took 31 years and 3 trials to prosecute and find guilty the murder of Medgar Evers. Bradley on the other. You talk to them for 2 days and now all of a sudden you know if they're guilty. You know if they're innocent. You know that. Your name is, your moniker is Officer Tatum, not Detective Tatum. You didn't make your way to detective. You're an influencer who says what white people want you to say. And don't you find it interesting that they chose to speak to you, and they chose to speak to you for the same reason that you're a conservative, for the same reason Turning Point did, because you're safe. They know you're a black man who'll do what he's told.
First of all, D.L. Hughley is not on my level. One point in time, D.L. Hughley used to be the man. At one point in time, I used to like D.L. Hughley, and I thought he was funny. Now, he was not even the top 5 in the Kings of Comedy, in my opinion. But I thought I respected his game. Just to grow up and realize D.L. Hughley is a simp, and he's a beta, and he's a crybaby, allegedly worth $10 million, but he's still crying about the white man every day. And he crying about the white man, yet he worked for white men companies. He's so black that he don't even care about black women enough to not cheat on his wife. He posted a picture of my wife. At least I ain't cheating on my wife. He cheated on his wife, got an outside baby. And a very unfortunate situation happened with his outside baby. And he wanted to come at me when he wasn't even there to protect his children. Then his young daughter gets into a sexual situation with a minor, where they both were minors. And she came to her dad in confidence, her black father, in confidence, and said she was being abused, and he didn't believe her. Brother, why are you talking about me? Why are you talking about me? You need to be worried about your own household. All the drama I just mentioned with his inner family ain't now one of the suspects in that situation white. A white man didn't cheat on your wife. A white man didn't abuse your daughter. And a white man didn't take the life of your infant child whom you had out of wedlock while you were married. These are all black people doing this. And D.L. Hughley, that's your stage name. You still going by your stage name, Negro. You ain't even a comedian no more, passing out on stage and stuff. You ain't even funny no more. But you going by D.L. Hughley.
You talked about it.
He said, I didn't make the team, or I didn't make it to the NFL. Okay, I don't think that's anything somebody can be sad about. And I'm also glad I don't have CTE either, so it's not all bad. You would never make it to. You won't even make it to college. You were in high school, little beta male talking about. Then I became a cop. What did I do as a cop? I protected black people with my life. D.L. Hughley is telling jokes.
Oh, yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as Terrible Tatum decided to respond to what D.L. Hughley had to say about him yesterday after he had called him an unfunny comedian for supposedly posting up his wife on social media. And I don't think D.L. Hughley posted her up like, let me disrespect his wife, but I think it's that correlation of conversation that is gonna happen when you're the guy on the internet pushing the anti-black talking points, trying to please and appease the white man, even crying over one at one point in time, and trying to stay connected to racial topics. People are going to say, well, hey, look, he's married to this type of woman, because it ain't about who you married to. It's about how you act after who you married to. Just keeping it all the way 1,000. But as you seen right there in his response, D.L. Hughley must have cut deep, because he went all the way as low as he can go to the flow, brought his family into it, and so much more. And I had a link in the description where you can watch the clip in the beginning in full from Terrible Tatum's platform. Now, Hughley had put up a lot more on his Instagram as well, and I really wasn't going to put the part in there where he talked about his wife and his kids and things like that, because I know that's personal and sensitive when it comes to that. And then not only that, I know it's not really meant for the greater good right there either. But I said, you know what? Terrible Tatum has a very large platform, like 10 times bigger than mine. He's been on all the other super large platforms. People know who he is in the game already. Let them see how disrespectful and how bad he is when it comes to things. When he's being criticized, it's about winning the argument, but not talking directly to the points of the conversation, or why he's so committed and dedicated to those anti-black talking points and stances that he pushes, and crying over white men and things of that nature on camera. Because I wasn't going to put it there, and y'all know I've been very critical of D.L. Hughley throughout the years. Still am. Disagree with a lot of points and takes and things that he say. My stance on that is what that is. But right here, he's 1,000% correct. Now, Terrible Tatum said a lot more on there, but he proved D.L. Hughley's point in full right there, because you made it about you versus him. You made it anecdotal. He got $10 million, or he's successful, or he works for the white man. Bro, that don't speak for all the people. And it's crazy, because in the black community, people tell us we need to do this, we need to do that, and da-da-da-da. But then when you speak up for your people, when you see them being done wrong, especially in a state like Mississippi with the terrible history of the fraud, the government stuff that goes on there, the police. I've covered these stories myself. The lynchings, when people got questions, when people sit back and they don't say nothing when they have a platform or a position, whether you agree with their stance or not, people gonna say, oh, you already made your money, you don't care about nobody else, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So that didn't make no sense at all. And let's keep it all the way 100. When other people speak up for their people, they get respected and looked at as soldiers. Hey, he stands for his people. Hey, he speak up for his people. He ride for his people. So he wasn't pushing that point in that correspondence of like, hey, fam, you just doing this to whatever. Nah. And then to be clear here, D.L. Hughley could get booked for a comedy show tomorrow. You could book him to come do a stand-up on stage, or he hosts a radio show on his own. Tatum, you can't get booked to be no officer nowhere. Let's be clear, Terrible Tatum, the tap dancer. They can't. You're not a cop. You're not a police officer, and you're not an investigator. And I feel like he got up under his skin right there, because he's not really talking to that point at all when it comes to, hey man, the cop. Yeah, you could have said you got blew up became popular because you was a cop at this time or whatever. Man, knock it off. You're not a cop now, and nobody can pay you to be a cop, and you can't identify yourself in real life as a cop. Let's keep it all the way 100. Hughley could go be a comedian anywhere. But this is the game. I didn't even know that Hughley had already cooked them before on the internet.
So this is Officer, I'm not going to call him Officer Brown. You're not your ex-cop. And anybody who calls themselves their old job means they don't think much of the new one they have. But this is him basically being disappointed. Well, I'll let you see.
I was not invited to any of the Turning Point Faith events, which I'm one of the biggest Christians in the movement right now that stand up for Jesus Christ.
How he wouldn't cry about the death of his own child.
For my wife.
Really?
I just wouldn't.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry for my wife if my kid
To be
died.
like the support.
No, yeah, I'm her foundation. I'm her strong point.
So I was late to that, but they've been into it already. But I'll tell you like this right here. This is the little hustle that several influencers or internet dudes are doing right now. Keep attaching yourself to the latest racial heavy controversy topic or incident, and then go anti-black with it. Wake up every day and get on some anti-black stuff. Use gaslight, manipulation, word antics and semantics and word salad, and acknowledge this but don't acknowledge that. Acknowledge the things that we've done positive, but then the negative stuff, just act like you don't understand that this government and system has played the majorest role of having black people in this position in this world. Don't act like we just some dogged out bad people out here when we've been thriving and surviving since day one. Even before the colonizers came, we've been building. But they highlight our negative and try to make the smaller percentage make the full percentage in the media. He's a part of that game, but this is what terrible Tatum, the tap dancers, and these other dudes who use that are gonna do, because it benefits them. It goes up quick on the internet and they develop an audience. They get committed. They're just keeping it all the way 1,000. But terrible Tatum, I stand on what I stand on with him, and I stand on what I stand with D.L. Hughley. But D.L. Hughley has most definitely got up under his skin here. Stay on your pivot. Tell me what y'all think. More coming. 1,000 for shit show.